those companies with.
Win-win for everyone in that case. And moving on to our next question is, how might startups and scale-ups incorporate good social practice without necessarily being defined as mission-led? So Kiki, why don't you start?
Kike.
We were talking about this before, culture and mission-led stuff.
So for me, it's just having the values from the get-go. So even if you're building a company that has nothing to do with mission-led, it is just maybe a product to help other companies be more efficient. It's about having the values internally. So it might be little things like not having plastic cups because you care about the ocean, or ensuring that from when you're hiring from a diverse set of people from the get-go. But it's about knowing that from the start. You don't want to kind of get to maybe 100 employees and then look around and be like, oh my God, we need to do some drastic changes. It's about kind of having those values. Okay, yes, we're making money and we're building our company, but we care about the world. We care about the impact that we're making. So I just believe it's, again, you don't have to be mission-led if that's not what you want to do, but having the values within your internal structure. And also putting that externally as well. So if your customers know about some of the things that you support, that actually drives even more customers because they're like, oh, that company actually cares about the ocean, or they care about diversity. And that can actually impact your company for the better.
Yeah, I'd just echo a lot of those points. Little steps and start early. I remember going to see Roy Singham talk, who was the founder of ThoughtWorks, and he talked about this conflict between us as people who are running startups, running companies, and accepting the fact that whilst we often want to do good, the fact that we operate also does some harm. So whether that's come to terms with the fact that our environmental impacts, whether that's societal impacts, so it's almost just to kind of bear that in mind as you operate, which is, in the operations that I'm doing, are there ways to do less harm? Are there ways to just make that little incremental change and build that into part of the thinking of the culture of your company so that everyone is actually thinking about that whenever they operate, which is, how do we do this better? How do we do this in the way that adds to the world rather than just takes away?
I'd add, I think I'm sort of embellishing on things that these guys have said, but one of the things I would say that has worked well in startups that I've seen who've wanted to be mission-led is where the founder has given up that mission to others in the organization, who's allowed them to own it too. So you need to be challenged on your mission all the time. There will be tough times. There'll be times when you have to make some really hard decisions if you're going to stick by your principles, if you're going to stick to.
And you gave a great example before about the cash.
Cash, cash is clearly king, and people worry. It's a constant worry for startups. But what happens when that potential customer turns up at the door, waving a big fat check, and they're the one customer you thought you would never deal with? You promised yourself you'd never deal with. But you're comparing that against nothing. Do you take it? Do you not? Build people around you who are going to support you, who are going to help you make the right decisions. Because all your other customers who come before may well have come to you because you're not dealing with that kind of organization, because you're not employing that kind of supplier. This is, these are important things that you need to build into your day-to-day organization, the tribe around you, the people who support you, your family. Let them know that you want them to support you in that mission, and make it someone's job to do it.
And just to add to that, I think, really, it's almost continuing on what you mentioned earlier, Anthony. Even as a mission-led company, how you generate revenues and who benefits from your revenues can sometimes be different things. And what I mean by that is, for Code First Girls, for example, we have our community side of the business and we have our commercial side of the business. They cross over at a number of points. But also there are times when, for example, we do commercial activities which aren't to do with, driving diversity around women. So we might just go and write a transaction, or we'll deliver a coding course at a company. It's for men and women. It's for people of different levels. It's not necessarily supporting diversity directly in the activity, but the revenues from that then get plugged back into running the free courses that we run, running the free events, the training programs that we run for younger women. So really thinking quite, creatively about, how do you want to structure that business, and where does that mission kind of benefit, and where does that kind of come from?